This is Caffeinated Creatives, and I'm your host, Danny Nagy, and we have TJ here today. And we've got some really exciting stuff to talk about, because there's something really cool coming out for you very soon.
Yes.
And if you're watching this at another time, it might be out already, depending on when you're watching it. But I so much appreciate you having me at your place. That was so awesome, shooting some drones, hearing your story, and checking out your land, hearing more about your riding and doing some shots. I'd love to talk about or hear more about the book.
Okay.
So what inspired you to be a writer?
I would have to say it was my mother. My mother was an avid reader. She stressed the importance of books and reading. She was always reading. Anytime you saw her, she had a book open reading if she wasn't working. And she'd join book clubs, and my father was constantly having to build new shelves on a daily basis, on a weekly basis. And it wasn't just books that she had ordered, she read them. She'd read a book I've seen her read a book in a day. And she loved it. And she was also a librarian. And being surrounded by those books all the time, it just, it did something to me. Mother had cancer. And she always wanted to write a book all the time. I can remember probably in my 20s seeing her take out legal notepad, legal ledger thing, the little yellow ones, and would start writing. And I would ask her, I said, "What are you writing about?" I said, "Well, I'm writing about my life and mine and your dad's life on the farm, because they had cattle, had land there." And I don't know how many times she did that. I know at least 3 times, but she never did finish. So time went on. She got cancer. And she got to the point to where she could not go pick up the books. She could still order them, but she got to where she didn't order them anymore. She'd use the library. So she couldn't make it to the library. So she would call the librarian. She knew her. And she would pick out the books she thought she would like. I'd go by, pick them up, bring them to her. And even when she was so sick, she would read constantly. That was just her thing. She loved it. And if I could make anyone have that feeling for books by just something I write, my job's done. My job's done. And I remember her taking an English course, even in her 50s probably. And she wrote a research paper on Secretariat. I still have that research paper. And I look at it occasionally, and it's just, brings back a lot of memories. But if I could get somebody to love or have that feeling about books, the job's done completely.
Wow. So her love of books transferred into you, and then you carried this dream that she had, which was writing a book.
Right.
What genre of books did she will get?
She
what
loved
kind of
romance novels.
Romance.
Now, not the dark romances or that type of stuff. Trying to, she liked J.D. Robb, I believe, and there's 2 personas there, two pseudonyms that person writes under, but like that, and it was just the things that were popular at that moment, and she loved them.
Did she ever read these books to you?
Well, when I was
Out
young.
loud?
Yeah, no, not those, but when I was young, she read to me all the time. I can remember my first set of books that I ever had. They had bought them long before I was even born. and it was a set of fairy tale books. And they were, some of them kind of dark. They were kind of like the Grimm too, fairy tales. But I mean, they were thick and all, and I kept them for years and years. We had a tornado in 2020 at my home, and it blew away with a lot of other stuff. Not in my house, but in a building, my old dojo.
Mamma mia. What were your life experiences that brought you into writing?
I would have to say that as a life experience, I was the type of person that wanted to try everything. I was a seeker, I suppose, and it's kind of like the character in this book, the main protagonist. He's a seeker, and he was constantly. I constantly wanted to try everything and see if I liked it. Some things I tried, I didn't care for. Some things I did, I truly loved. I wore many hats in my life. Of course, I was a school teacher. I taught the martial arts for 40 years.
Wow.
Yeah, 40 years. That ain't counting what I trained, And I worked as a bouncer in a bar. Of course, a lot of people don't like to use the word bouncer. They like to call it nightclub security professional, which is fine. Makes it sound a lot better.
True.
I actually went to a bodyguard school in Aspen, Colorado, and graduated, and worked a little as a bodyguard, but found out it just wasn't my thing. I like steady work, and that did not afford a lot of steady work.
Wow.
Let's see, I've been in law enforcement. I worked as auxiliary in Lawrence County. I worked as a policeman, patrol officer in Monosalo in like 83, 84, and somewhere in that neighborhood. I've been a grocery store manager, co-manager. I had no problem trying anything new. And all of those experiences kind of blended together and came up with some of my inspirations.
Wow. I don't know why, but I imagined the best soup ever. Like guyash with the greatest ingredients. That's Terry Joe.
Yeah, it is.
A melting pot of different things that you acquired throughout the years of things. Wow. I love it. I identify with that. I always love trying different things. Now, how do you know if you like something or don't like something if you never try it?
My father always would tell me, you need to slow down and enjoy the ride. Because he was a biker. But when I go on long trips, I have an issue with taking my time. I will make 500-600 miles a day.
Ooh.
I want to see what's on the next horizon, on the next hill, over the next hill. And I'm not happy with here. I got to get over there. And that can work against you too.
Interesting. How so?
Well, you forget to look at things. You don't see everything. You don't absorb it. You miss a lot. You don't get to smell all the roses,
I remember in the past I've been told that if I do too many things, I will never master one thing.
Oh yeah, that's saying, jack of all trades but master of none.
Well, there's a continuation,
right?
Which I forgot.
I don't have it.
But it's better than master of none or something. I don't know.
Better than a master of none. Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So I know people who just spend all their life doing one thing and they're really good at one thing. But I don't know if I could just do one thing because I have a curiosity of so many other things. And it's like a snake that wanders around. I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know. I think maybe it's genetic, even though my father was, I'm adopted. My father can't say anything because he can plumb, he can do electrical work, he can do carpentry, he was a truck driver, he's a farmer, he can do anything like that. But the reason for that is he was born in 1929, Depression. So you had to learn to do things instead of hiring somebody else because you couldn't afford it. And that's something I wish I would have been able to do more. I'm just not good with certain things.
There's a special word in Hungary for folks who are good at a lot of things, polyhistor. And we call folks like Leonardo da Vinci. I nearly said Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah, no, you're talking
Leonardo
about
da Vinci,
Da
because
Vinci.
he was a mathematician, a physicist, an artist, an inventor. And there were, in that time period especially, there were a lot of folks like him who did a lot of things in a lot of areas and invented and were good mathematicians and stuff. That's one word that a friend of mine told me, or his mom. Well, that's interesting.
Strange you mentioned that,
Yeah.
because I would do manuals for my kids in school, and I did a web page. I was probably the first person to do their own web page, first teacher in the county. And I'm trying to think of the name of the drawing where the man spread out that Da Vinci did. I know
I know what you're talking about.
But that was the cover of my little manual, and it was also the main photo on my.
Was it that anatomy picture where he is like
Right.
the guy is in like an X shape in a circle?
Can't even think of the
Can't
name
remember.
of it. I know
I'll find it. Find that picture.
Yeah.
I might add it in.
Yeah, it has.
Yeah.
I always liked Da Vinci because he went against the norm. He went against, what was. He was a seeker, no doubt.
Earlier, when we were in your ranch, your land, your it's a beautiful land. It was so funny. I was laughing because those cows kept talking loud, and I'm like, that's jacking up my attention. It was really funny though. It was so cute. I wish I had. Oh, I probably have audio of it, but we were talking about where you're drawing your inspiration for the characters, and I always heard this sentence: write what you know about or what you've experienced, which kind of reminded me of when we were talking about how you draw your inspiration from or where.
Well, almost every character, I would probably say every character is based on someone I know. I have friends that are main characters in it. I have like supporting, if you want to call them that. That's part of it, that are based on people. And it doesn't have to be a friend. It can be somebody I met at a service station on a trip, or met at a roadside park on a trip. People, if you'll take time, most of the time, they will talk with you. But everybody is kind of so afraid to start a conversation with someone. But I'm not. I will talk to them. I don't care who you are. And I've had some of the best conversations sitting at the little deli in a gas station.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. When we were in Europe last year, we traveled so much, it was kind of crazy. We landed in Austria, Vienna, and then we went to Hungary, and then we did like this big circle, went to Bavaria, check out the Neuschwanstein, but we always stop for coffee, find local shops but the coolest thing in Europe, every coffee shop is like, not coffee shop, every gas station is this mall looking area, and then there's like this whole like coffee section, which is awesome. I had to take pictures and videos every
I
time.
bet it smells wonderful.
Oh yeah, and you can get really good baked goods and stuff, and the look or the view is just incredible. You're next to a big old mountain, and you're like, holy cow.
I want to travel internationally.
Oh man.
I have been to Okinawa, Tokyo, Japan, Okinawa and Tokyo, Japan. I've been to Mexico. That's the only two countries that I've been outside of the United States. I do a lot of traveling within the U.S.
Tokyo.
Oh,
what drew you to go to Tokyo?
Well, I've trained in karate for 40-something years, and that is the birthplace. Okinawa is the birthplace of karate, and I had always wanted to see it. I've trained in it so long. I didn't go until 2014, and I went with some friends that were my students, Her mother was Okinawan, her father was American. And so I had some people that were native speakers, and that made it so much better, being able to understand everything. And people are so friendly in Okinawa, it's just amazing. I mean, they are just really.
How long were you there for?
I was there for 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
That's a good time.
It was.
In one place, or you traveled a lot
No,
within?
we stayed in the same hotel, but we went to a lot of the castles. And what I love about that was you're standing on ground that people fought on 600 years ago,
That's crazy, isn't it?
700 years ago. You know, and there was just a feeling there.
Yeah. I love traveling. That's one of my favorite things. I know what you mean. We visited a couple of good amount of castles when we were in Germany and Hungary. And it's like, wow, I can't believe this thing has been here for 1,000+ years.
Yeah,
And how was the culture in Japan?
amazing. I mean, everybody is laid back. Now that's in Okinawa. Tokyo seems to be a little more tight, but when you fly into Tokyo, the first thing that strikes you is the quietness. Everybody is so quiet, and you know the not stewardess, but the flight people, the ones that working in the airport, they would come up to you and they didn't talk loud. They would whisper,
Oh,
and then
interesting.
they would make sure you got to where you were going. Then we flew into Okinawa, and people are just amazing, talkative. I mean, of course, couldn't understand them, but they wanted to know about you, you know. And the beauty of Okinawa, I would compare. I've never been to Hawaii, but I've been told that Okinawa is as beautiful.
Wow. Do you have pictures?
Oh yeah.
Oh, you gotta have to share me something.
Okay.
Possibly put on the video.
Yeah, I got some photos of. I actually promoted our family to the rank of black belt in Shuri Castle
Wow.
in the throne room. Probably wasn't the most legal thing in the world, but we got by with it.
That's funny. Wow, that's amazing. Did you get to do any martial art while you were there?
I met an American that was the #1 student of one of the styles there, and they do a traditional dance. Karate was hidden. The movements of karate was hidden inside of dance, and so that's how they hid it from other people.
Interesting.
And they would hide it in the dance. And he was over a dance. You know, they met at this big recreation center, and he beat the drums, and they would dance. He'd show them how to do it. And I mean, it was just, I had a ball. I made instant friends with him.
That reminds me of capoeira. Isn't capoeira a dance?
Yeah, it
or
is.
a martial art hidden as a dance?
It is. Capoeira is that.
Yeah, I've heard that some martial arts were coded as a dance or something because martial arts were banned or something.
Right. At one time, there was an edit that banned them.
Interesting. Could you talk about what the book is about?
Well, some people would say it's about a educator that's in a midlife crisis. But it's probably more like a man searching for himself. That would be what I would say. He's a school teacher. He's probably 5 years away from retirement. He joins a motorcycle club, MC. And he had always been drawn to that lifestyle for some reason. And that's later on found out in the book. And he becomes involved in some illegal kind of activity, but as an outsider, and he didn't like it at all. So it's kind of like him wanting to get out. get out of that situation. And there's some problems with it because the president of the club, who is fondly referred to as the old man, he's doing some not illegal stuff. He's doing some secretive things that goes against the club. So the main character, Conrad, he uses it as leverage.
How did he find out that thing? Or you have to read the book to find out.
Yeah, you have to read the book.
You have to read the book.
But his best friends is Corbin, and they're he's a school teacher as well. They ride motorcycles together. And he joined the club as well because Conrad did, the main character. He saw Conrad kind of as an older brother. And so there's this interplay with them, like sibling rivalry. They're always trying to one-up each other. And so something is done to his best friend, Corbin, to send him a message that he better back off. And so then it starts. Conrad decides to take the bull by the horn, so to say.
Interesting. Is this a 3-parter book?
It is. It's a trilogy.
Trilogy?
It started out as a one-offer, but I was led to see that it would have been way better as a trilogy. So I had to go back and write the first book. The one I originally wrote was the middle book.
Interesting. So you first did the middle book?
Right.
And then went back to the first book.
Of course, then I had to change all the stuff up in the middle book as well after I got through with the first.
And then where are you now? What stage are you at?
I'm getting the second book ready. It'll be ready shortly. And, probably a couple of months. And hopefully. And then the third book's ready to roll. I just got to get it on paper.
Awesome. Who do you think will like this book?
Well, of course, people that love motorcycles. People that kind of are like Conrad, enamored with that lifestyle. People that just like a good story. That those are the types of people that will like this. I don't care if you don't like motorcycles, or if you don't like the ideal of motorcycle clubs and that, still a great story. Because it has so many secrets that are revealed during it that shows why Conrad is so drawn to that culture.
I remember you were telling me that these characters are based on real friends, real people. Which character do you sympathize or identify the most as the writer?
Well, me. I am Conrad.
You are Conrad.
Right.
So.
I didn't do the things Conrad did, but Conrad's mannerisms and all are based on me. There's some things that he goes through that I went through. So, I really connect with him. And I also connect with the character named Max. Max was his mentor and karate instructor years ago. And he kind of always stayed in touch with him. And, they were friends, and I kind of connect with that one. And then probably now in the second book, I based 2 of the characters, a man and his wife. They're Torque and Karma. And they are very close friends. And they're based on very close friends. And the part of Karma is a strong woman. She's an educator as well. So her and Conrad kind of connect. And she's not afraid to fight for anything she believes in or for anyone she loves. And then Torque, of course, is great. He's kind of he's the president of the club, the Hellfire Saints Club. He's the president.
That's the name of the club?
That's the name of, and that's the name of the book.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, Hellfire Saints. And so he is trying to make the club more like it was in the golden days of motorcycle clubs, like the 60s and 70s. You know, it was just about people getting together, riding motorcycles. You know, there was nothing, you know, they were well thought of. And then it, you know, that's what he wants, trying to clean up the club.
Interesting.
He wants it to go back like it was years ago. Of course, he's a young guy, but he remembers when it was founded.
Motorcycling also reminds me of freedom.
Well, it is. It's the ultimate form of freedom to me. I mean, it's just like when you're on that road and that bike's, you know, going down that road, you're not. There was a book called Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance. That was a big book back in the 60s. It made me think of a lot of things. You think about it. You're in an automobile going down the road. What are you looking through?
Glass.
So it's like you're watching TV.
Oh, yeah.
It's rectangled off.
Yeah.
But on a motorcycle,
You have a
you have a
180.
three-dimensional, you know, 360 pretty much.
I was going to say 360.
I mean, you know,
first,
but really you don't want to look behind you.
Yeah.
But you have that feeling of being part of your environment. You blend in with it. And people don't understand the smells. Now, there are some horrible smells that you will smell, you know, the odors and all, but there are some wonderful. In California, I remember riding through this orange grove, and the aroma was just amazing. So you notice that when you're riding on like in the mountains, and you go up to the top, you get really cold.
Wow.
And when you drop off the other side, the fluctuation in temperature,
Yeah.
you don't really feel that in an automobile.
Wow.
Because you got the, you know, so you're part of it.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
I have a friend of mine who went to Colombia, drove motorcycles in the Colombian mountains. He said it was so beautiful. You would like him. He's a really cool guy. He loves to do a lot of traveling stuff, hiking and stuff like that. What was your creative process like when you were writing your book? I know you were writing it in different order, but what was your process like?
Well, like I said, I've had this story, this ideal, since I was in my mid-20s probably. I've always saw it. But I would sit down and try to write it, but then I would give up, you know, didn't think I could do it. I tried it a couple, 3 times, but then I realized maybe it wasn't time for me to write it. So from then on, I had a lot of experiences that added to the book, you know, added to the story. So I think it was meant to be that I would write late in life. I mean, I came to writing late in life. I'm 67 years old, and I've been writing on it probably 4 years. You know, the actual sitting down and writing. And that's it. It's always been there. I don't know, you know, it almost feels like it's like Conrad's love of the motorcycle clubs, you know, wondering if it was genetic, maybe, you know, you'd think about it, but we know it's not. And that's kind of like, why was I so interested in this story? Because I was enamored by motorcycle clubs. I remember watching the old biker movies, and we still do. I still do. But when Easy Rider came out, that was amazing, the movie. And then you had the rough and tumble, tough guy motorcycle club movie, like Hell's Angels on Wheel, Hell's Angels 69, you know, all of those movies like that. They were, you know, wonderful. But that led me to the writings of Hunter S. Thompson. Now, Hunter S. Thompson is the one that did Fear and Loathing, Las Vegas, and he did a book called Hell's Angels. And I started reading that type of book, that genre. And then I was extremely affected by what is known as the beat poets. Jack Kerouac. You know, that was one of them. William Burroughs was another one. I mean, probably a generation now may not know what I'm talking about because it's kind of been probably forgotten. But they were the beginners, they were the initiators of the hippie movement, pretty much. And this was been in the 50s, and they wrote books about travel, freedom, bohemian lifestyle, and
Interesting.
The Dharma Bums was one of the books, and the other one was On the Road. Awesome books, and that was Kerouac. Loved him. But Hunter S. Thompson, and every chapter of my story, my book, is going to have an opening quote from some writing, some person, and Hunter S. Thompson is in there a lot. You know, but of course it's Masashi. Masashi's in there from the Book of the Five Rings. You know, swordsman. You know, samurai. But I'm you know, I get inspiration everywhere. But of course I've done a lot, you know,
Yeah.
as far as things, you know, and work.
It makes sense that you drew all these, all the inspiration from all the things that you've done. I mean, you did so many things.
But I haven't lived enough, and
What makes you say that?
I just want more. Yeah, I'm a seeker. I want
Oh,
more.
I don't think there's better with wanting more and more and more.
Yeah.
That means the sense of wonder is still within us, you know. But I don't think it's a bad thing that you were writing later in life. That just means that you have way more experiences to write from, to add wonder. What would have happened if this and this, you have this in your life or in your past, use that as a anchor, but then instead of doing this, you do that. These hypothetical situations.
But I do regret I didn't get started earlier. I really do.
Why? We
Well,
can't change the
I would be a
past.
better writer by now. You know?
Well, you'll be a better, if you still do it. Let me rephrase. You're doing it now. You're in the process of doing it. You will be a better writer already in the future because you're
Sure.
doing it.
Sure.
So I think what we can do is inspire people to start, no matter when, because there's no like bad time, worst time. The best time is the now.
Yeah. And
Yeah, that's the best thing you can do.
You know, in the martial arts is heavily influenced by Zen. And it's about living in the now. You know, if you live all in the future, you're not going to enjoy the
Yeah.
present. If you're dragging around the past, you're not going to enjoy the now. And I kind of have a habit of that. I have a problem with dragging the past around.
I understand. I have a habit of, I wish I had done this, I wish I had done that. But you can't change the past.
That's right.
Where is that coming from in us humans, where we dwell on the what ifs of the past instead of letting it go and be okay with what we got now? Because I'll be honest with you, there are other people that wish they had our lives, so we should appreciate what we got and try to better our future. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I think so.
And a perfect example of that, and I'm beginning to feel that, is that I've just only recently started reading Marcus Aurelius. And he was a Stoic, and he writes about the ideal that you have to be okay with your fate. You have to accept it, enjoy it, don't whine, don't cry about it. And that's something I need to take to heart. I've just discovered it, and the book is Meditations.
Interesting. How do you accept it?
Just
How can you just stop
that's
thinking
hard.
about the past?
Well,
and
you
the
know,
things-
I've made mistakes in the past. I have not, I have failed to do things that I wanted to do. What am I going to do about it anyway?
Well, we can't do anything about the
Can't
past
do anything
anymore.
about it. But we want to. And I think that works against us a lot of times.
That's true, yeah. Why
you
do we
get-
want something that we can't change? The only thing we can change is what
You.
decision I'm making right
Right.
now. I think that's the thing. So the past gives us the experience. If we make all good decisions, then we don't really learn how best to make decisions for the future. We have to mess up.
That's like in karate. You have fights. You learn way more from your losses than you do your wins. You know, you're too happy that you won. You're too exuberant, you know. But when you get beat, you got to learn to be able to take it and find out why you got beat and change it.
Yeah, I remember I used to want to always be the best, always do better than maybe everybody else, or always get positive comments. I don't know why I had a bad experience or bad relationship with negative comments. Maybe it was the way it was given, or I don't know. But I thought a lot about that
Yeah,
because it took me a while to be okay if I mess up and be like, okay, I don't care about it. Let's see how I can change it for the better for the future.
Marcus
Instead of sitting a lot on it. You know what I mean?
Aurelius would have probably said, "Who cares what they thought? who gives? You know, who gives 2 cents about it?"
Gotta have Marcus Aurelius on the podcast sometimes.
Yeah,
He's dead, but
yeah, I know, but you know, and like I said, I've only recently got involved with him or reading because of a friend of mine that he loves him, and
yeah, those people wrote some very thoughtful things. Wonder what their experiences were that brought them to think about these things.
well, he was an emperor for one thing.
A what?
Of Rome, emperor.
Oh, an emperor.
Yeah.
He may have not had to deal with a lot of things that other people had to. I don't know.
But he was a fair, you know, as fair as they got. You know, he was not like some.
So when you started writing and where you're now, what is it that you've learned from the process as a writer, as a creator, entrepreneur maybe, or take what you want from this big question.
One thing is, it's a lot harder than I thought it was. A lot more difficult. I thought, you know, I would just breeze through it, but no. And, you know, that's one thing that I would have to say that I learned. And I also, probably the implication of words. I have a habit when I write that when you read it one way, but the other readers read it a totally different way. And that's something that I've struggled with.
Interesting.
You know, and because, well, you take, for example, does argument start more over a telephone call or a text?
I think maybe on a text because you don't know what tone they would be saying it with, and it could be sarcastic, it could be funny, it could be totally serious. I have a lot of trouble with text because of that reason.
I do too.
I hate it.
And that's one thing I've grown one way, and probably not getting, you know, don't get down on yourself a lot. I tend to do that. And, well, you know, I've messed up there, you know, but you just got to keep plugging away. Of course, I learned that from karate. My sensei taught me, you know, you don't give up, no matter what. No matter what, you don't give up.
You can learn a lot from martial arts, a lot of mental aspects, spiritual aspects that correlates to physical aspects, because everything is in between our ears, in our mind, you know. But yeah, you're right. It's also whoever is reading, they also have their experiences, so they might not take it the same way as you take it. That's interesting. I didn't think about that, but it's completely, you're right.
And
have you shared your book with someone who shared you a different experience than what you were intending?
I had one beta reader. Oh, I actually had 2 beta readers. And they read it, and I learned a lot from them, especially the first one.
How did you change things to just be closer to what you want them to understand from your book?
Just approach the situation or the scene in a different way, I suppose. That would be, you know, that's a difficult question.
I know.
You know, I just I took their advice because, you know, I respected their call, and they were more avid readers than I am, so I wanted them to do that.
And you also look up to them as writers.
Right.
I think that's important.
I mean, they read all the time, you know, and they love reading, and I love reading, but I can't, you know, the genre that I am writing, adventure with a tad of romance, is not my norm. It's just a story that I had. But now I think that I like it well enough that that's the way I want to go. Ain't nothing. I love writing a fight scene, but it was difficult
Interesting.
because I knew all the moves, all the motions, the techniques, but when I would write it, it looked like a technical manual of how to do a front kick.
I was thinking about how would you even write a fight?
Yeah, you don't do that. You just make it simple. You don't say that, you know, the kick swung at an arc, you know, followed the arc of this and that.
Wow.
And that's something that my editor stayed on me about.
Very interesting. I did not think about that.
Yeah, and
I could
that
see.
was difficult.
I remember you told me you're also visual. You're a visual person.
I'm a very visual person.
I could see these. I could see that writing for book would be more difficult than writing for a script that becomes a film.
And someone told me, I won't call their names, that this the way I write is more towards a script.
Interesting. I could see
because I like the settings and
Yeah.
all this instead of just getting down to the
Yeah,
nitty gritty.
that's very interesting. I'd love to like imagine what that movie would look like or show or whatever. You know, it sounds very
The
interesting.
video that you did from the drone,
Yeah.
I can see that
It's
because it's in the book.
Really?
There,
Wow.
there's a scene where he loved his parents. The main character, Conrad, loved his parents, and that would have probably been the passage that I would have read. He goes, visits the graveyard where they're buried, and talks to them, before he starts out on a particular journey, on something that he had to do. And, there's several of, incidences of that. That would have been perfect for it.
Wow. I always love those big drone shots in movies. I love watching movies because of the cinematography. The cinematography is such a big storytelling machine, I'm opposite. I like listening and watching. That's how I always personally learned. I have too little attention span to read, but I can listen to something for 5 to 10 hours.
I'm a visual and auditory.
Let me take back what I said. If I'm very interested, I'd read it in a matter of days. But if it doesn't hold my attention, then good luck.
Well, that's like in college. I despised reading because it was material that I cared nothing about. Even in my field, biology, some of that stuff is so dry. And I don't want to be like that when I write. But I'd read it, and you'd read the same paragraph 3 times.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm the same way. If it doesn't interest me, I could read it, but for some reason it doesn't really register. So I have to read it like 4 times or record it, listen to it. That's how I used to learn when I was in high school.
I can see that.
I would record myself reading it out loud, then I would read it again while I'm listening to it.
I can say that is the truth because during the 70s, I had a stereo, and we had a local radio station that everybody listened to because it was so out there, and it was from Jackson. And they would play music 24 hours a day. The disc jockeys would talk 24 hours a day. It wasn't canned music. And it played day and night for probably 6 or 7 years. and I can tell you who sung what bands they were in, what year the album came out, because I laid there and listened to it while I was asleep a lot of times. I never turned it off. It never went off.
I did the same thing a lot, listening to something while I'm sleeping.
Oh, and have you ever been watching a TV show or something of a movie, and you fall asleep, and then you start dreaming about what you hear?
Yep.
That's
crazy.
Yeah.
Or wild. Yeah, I know. When I was in high school, I wanted to really badly develop perfect pitch. So we'll go to bed listening to like a D note or a G note. And I know I did some weird stuff. And I would get really close to it, where I would have very, very strong reference pitch, where I know what notes I can sing, the lowest note, and I can figure it out, or I can visualize where certain notes are, which is kind of crazy.
I can remember music it helps me to write as well. I don't know if it inspires me or it supports it. I don't know what you would say. If you like what you're hearing and seeing, please like, share, and subscribe. Caffeinated Creatives on all social media platforms. Thank you.
Well, guys, here we are at Finch and Fox Coffee Shop in Monosalo, Mississippi. Well, the inspiration, the owner, Miss Holly, her mom they were Finches, and her mom's maiden name was Fox. So that's why they named it Finch and Fox. She opened it in honor of her mom. We offer sandwiches, paninis, specifically some sweets, ice cream, all kinds of coffees. Right now is the Mississippi Man. It is bourbon caramel and white chocolate. That one is very popular because everybody needs a Mississippi Man in their life. If you guys are looking for a great cup of coffee with great company, come on down to Finch and Fox Coffee Spot.
I'd like to thank Finch and Fox Coffee Spot for allowing us to shoot this episode with TJ McKenzie. And if you're in town, you live in town, or going through town, and I'm talking about Monosalo, Mississippi, make sure to check out Finch and Fox Coffee Spot. That's Finch and Fox Coffee Spot to get you some coffee and breakfast. Well, that's what I do too. And folks, if you like what you're hearing and seeing, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Caffeinated Creatives. Check out TJ McKenzie's book. It's available now. Check out this next segment.
Leaning back in his chair, Conrad took a sip of his mid-morning coffee. A stack of ungraded papers thrown on top of his desk, some turned in 2 weeks earlier. Something he would have never allowed to happen 2 or 3 years earlier. Damn, I've got to get myself together, he thought. He knew it was more than apathy. It was also the pressure from living a double life. He prided himself on the discipline he had developed through years of martial arts training, but association with the Celtic Mafia MC was resulting in him losing that edge. He had been extremely fortunate that no one had found out about what he was involved with. His mom would always quote the Bible verse that said something like, "Be sure your sins find you out," and he knew it was inevitable that he would be found out. I invite you to check out my new release, Hellfire Saints, When Loyalty Fails, by TJ McKenzie, available on Amazon and Kindle. I can remember in the 70s listening at a song, and I formed a video in my mind long before MTV, like Dark Side of the Moon, Pink Floyd. I mean, you could just come up with all kinds, The Doors, Riders on the Storm. And I always do that. And so when I sit down and I'm writing something, I'll choose a song sometimes that represents that to me, and I'll let it play. Or a genre of music that I like and let it play. And it just kind of helps me get focused.
Music is interesting. I had a music production teacher, and he said that when you're a musician, you do music for either the sake of art or for the people, and I'll explain. Like, look at Look at Michael Jackson. He's always going to be the king of pop, you know, or these big guys that will always carry their legacy. I don't know per se if they're really trying to do something hip or really, they were doing something they were inspired about, what they loved, what they were passionate about, that I think is carrying their legacy. Like Miles Davis and these guys, Jimi Hendrix, these people. I mean, I know them, and I really hope the younger generation knows them.
A lot do, believe it or not, especially Jimi Hendrix.
But a lot of folks who are trying to like, oh, I want to write a hit song, I want to be famous, or I want to do something that's hip next year. You know, you're chasing that clout. I think that's the wrong reasons. I think, like what we talked about earlier, if you're passionate about something, truly passionate, I think you got to be a little bit stubborn and just go for it. Because there will be people that like it or don't like it, you know. And that was an interesting comment from my teacher, because that reminded me of, I can write songs for film and TV, but that doesn't equate to doing it for sake of art, to do something what I would like. But I can like it, but it also has to be a job for serving something else. I don't know if that makes sense.
It does, very much so.
Yeah. What have you learned in the process of writing these books that you want young writers to learn from?
I've learned that you don't need to give up. You need to, be persistent with what you're doing. And don't be too hard on yourself, because you're not perfect. And I felt like that whatever word I wrote, that I would, wrote on the page, it had to be perfect the first time. And it was not by a long shot. So, you just got to take time with yourself. Let yourself, don't be so hard on yourself.
That's so true. I was told nobody's first song, nobody's first video, nobody's first whatever is gonna be perfect.
And for whatever you do, or whatever they do, get an editor, a professional editor.
Sorry, I cut you off, but yes.
Yeah, but that is the most important thing. It costs money, but you don't look like you don't have mistakes that maybe your eyes missed, or an implication of a word that you put in there.
Interesting.
That somebody that has edited for years and years and years catch right just like that.
At what part of the production are you introducing the editor?
Well, this one was a little different than the editor was used to. I would do a chapter, she would edit it. I'd do a chapter, she would edit it. That was the way we went.
Oh, interesting. Did you like that?
I did, but it's not the best. The best is to do like 5 chapters, turn it in, let them do it. I think that's the best. That's what she prefers too.
In terms of the creative process, what is the difference between the two? How is it affecting you as a writer?
Between what?
Between writing one chapter and having that one chapter edited versus writing 5 chapters and editing 5 chapters.
It slows down the process.
Slows down?
Yeah, I'm slow.
Does it impact you as a creator? Like, do you get writer's block or something?
Oh, yes. That's one of the big things. But when I do, I just quit, walk away from it. But I did the first few times. But I finally realized, that was the best thing to do, because you're not going to write things that are good when you're blocked or when you're aggravated about something. Sometimes I'll get on my bike and ride. 10-mile ride is just, does a world of good. It's therapeutic. This writing has been therapeutic for me. It's been, cathartic. I have, when I write, what's interesting is I will have thoughts and memories of things that I haven't thought about and didn't know really did. I hadn't thought about it in years, and maybe hadn't even ever realized it. You go, what's that all about? But then that teaches you, like when I told you when I was in high school, college, I felt as though I was an outsider. I always thought everybody looked at me, not down on me necessarily, but looked at me differently, And I think everybody goes through that. But some of those things that happened during that time period pops out. And you go, because you're writing kind of from your memories, and use it like Conrad is based on me to some degree. My mannerisms only. I didn't do the things Conrad did in the book. But, I think so.
You had a teacher that told me if I'm producing a song or something and there's a challenge or something, I get stuck, move on to a different thing, or add a time limit to it. Like, I'm going to do this for 5 minutes. If I can't figure it out, I'm going to do something else. And you'll come back, and because of that break, or you did something else that inspired you to figure something out that will fit there. I had that a couple of times when I was working on this new EP for an artist. We were working on it. I'm like, well, I don't know what to do. Let's just go and do another song, and we'll figure it out. But yeah.
I can't imagine someone. I mean, sometimes I work well with deadlines, but I can't imagine some authors. They have deadlines to get this in, this in, this in. Working against that deadline. I'm not a professional. I'm not a professional writer. I don't do it for a living. But I can't imagine them having to deal with that. Because I don't know if I could or not. Because I do well with deadlines, but it's just a constant thing.
Is it pressuring you? Do you feel pressure when you have a deadline?
Yeah. No, not normally.
Or what do you feel like when you need to write a chapter by next Friday?
Right. I need, but most of my problem was setting my own deadline.
Oh.
When I didn't have to. I said, well, I want to get this done by so-and-so. Well, when I didn't, I got down on myself about it. Well, editor reminded me, who set that? Who set that deadline?
You?
I did. He said, you ain't got to do that. So that's another thing, you have to.
Do you have deadlines now, or you write as you go?
No, I'm a casual, I just, if I did it for a living, yeah, you'd have deadlines. And, I have certain deadlines, and most of the time I miss them, but,
yeah, my relationship with deadlines, let me press that button. When I work on a project, I'm so excited that I want to finish it ASAP. What I don't like is sitting too much on something. I remember having a couple of clients who overthought everything, and by the time I got notes, I already forgot whatever we were doing. So like when I work on a wedding or something, sometimes I think about what the concept of the film is gonna be or what it will look like, but I want to do it. I want to have a first version within days, or like with music videos. I shot a music video and the next day I already had an edit, at least something to work from, because I feel like if it's halting, I lose that excitement and energy, and I'm already on another project, But I always have a weird, what's the feeling? When I put a hard deadline on me, I always feel nervous about it, and sometimes it goes against my creativity because I'm a mix of having some kind of a routine and a mix of being on the moment. And it's hard to kind of manage sometimes because she knows that, because she knows I like to just make up stuff, but then I like to do it in a certain way. But anyway, let me see. What excites you about these books?
Well, of course, it's from my my mind. That excites me, of course. But the characters in it are real. You know, they're not this perfect rendition of some person that they have problems just like we do. Conrad has problems, the main character. He has problems. Everybody has problems. And I would like, you know, for people to read that and get something out of that. You know, yeah, it's a great story, but, you know, that would be, it's just the fact that I'm actually doing it. You know, stop playing around. And like when I realized that the first one was about ready to be done, I kind of freaked out.
Really?
Yeah.
Why were you freaked out?
Well, not freaked out, but I mean in a good way. It was like,
I know what you mean.
yeah, you know, it's here, it's time.
Yeah.
And then there I have diddled around and, you know, not done everything I need to do to prepare for it.
Mm-hmm.
And
Are you nervous about the release?
no,
No?
I'm not nervous because, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah, that's
You
true.
know, and I've always hated that phrase. It is what it is.
Yeah, I
But
don't
it
even
is.
know what it means supposed to mean.
Right.
It is what it is.
Well, it's fate's gonna, you know, things gonna happen the way they're supposed to happen.
Yeah. I guess the way I'm looking at it is you've worked on it. You put your best that you
Right.
could, and that's the fruit of it. And there's nothing better you can do, but you've learned so much in the whole process, so that whatever comes next, you might do it differently. I don't know.
It's not anything. I mean, I didn't do it to brag about it. I didn't do it for money. I mean, you know,
You did it for yourself.
I did it for myself.
Yeah, I think
And
that's
it's
pure.
something. And my editor kept telling me, "This is your story." You know.
Mm-hmm.
You
I
know,
think that's very pure.
You got, you know, you got to be happy with it. You got to enjoy it. And I am. I'm very happy with it. Because like I said, first time writer.
Are you working on anything new, or do you have anything coming up in the future after this?
Well, the trilogy, of course, the third book,
Mm-hmm.
I'm beginning to work on, you know, getting it together. And that, and I have, like I said, I've always wanted to do a little short film. And I would like to do the short film of book one. Just a short film, filmed with a with a phone camera. You know, you see them on YouTube all the time. Just to do it. I would like to do that. But yes, I would like, I'm writing a script right now. And for the first book, the first in the trilogy. And like I said, it lends itself more to a movie, seems like. You know, and I had to research how to write a script because I had no idea. You know, they have programs now you can download free to do it. Certain fonts, you know, certain size, certain indentation, and they won't even look at it if you don't.
Oh, wow.
So I'm just doing it. But if it doesn't get made, that's fine. But I'm just doing it for me.
Yeah.
You know,
I'd love to see
I'll
it.
do it.
Yeah.
I might get you to help me do it.
I was just about to say, hey, I am an aspiring filmmaker.
Yes, you are. Hey, we need to talk.
We
Yeah,
need to talk,
definitely.
my friend.
Yes, that is awesome.
Oh, I'm excited to see it out, and I might get my bum to sit down and read it all.
Okay.
Is there anything you would like to share about the book, about your creative process?
No, I think
Anything?
we've covered it all. I just would like for people to give it a try and look at it and read it and enjoy it.
I'm excited to delve in. It was a wonderful day. Spend some time with you at
I
your
had a ball.
spot. It was awesome. I just went and started chatting, hanging out at your spot, did some drone shots, and
And I swear, very few people come up and down that road. And I bet you there were 12 people come up that road while we were there. Had people stop and don't never stop.
it's always at the time when you need it,
Yeah.
is when whatever, Murphy's.
I'd like to thank you for giving me this opportunity. I would have never had it if it hadn't been for you.
Of course. When we first met, I already knew you cool.
Yeah,
you have a story, and I know that story. I can tell that the book is awesome. You have a very colorful story, and a lot of experiences. You're into so many things. I admire people who try a lot of things. That gives character to a person. Right. You know, I mean, I guess like I said earlier, it's like cooking. You know, you make a colorful, goulash stew with a bunch of stuff. You know.
Correct.
You're like a tasty stew.
I don't think I've ever been called that.
You're tasty stew with a bunch of stuff in there. Are you a big foodie?
I love good food. I mean, I'm a big guy.
I love food.
I'll try anything once. Love sushi. I mean, real sushi.
I love sushi.
Thai, it don't matter. I'll try anything.
That's another good thing about traveling. It's the food. You get to try
Hottest thing I've ever had is habu sake.
Habu sake. What is habu sake?
It's sake, but there's a reticulated python wound up in the. And I was expecting it to be musky, maybe kind of a murky, musty type. That smell, taste. No, it was better than any sake I've ever drank. That was when I was in Okinawa.
My dad's side of the family, they're cooks, pastry chefs, and they make wine and all kinds of alcohol, which is pretty usual. Hungarian folks like to make their own alcohol. Yeah. And there's a special wine. It's phenomenal. There's this one kind of wine tasting liquor. It's what is it called? What's the other name of peach? Apricot alcohol. Ooh. It's very good, very good. Yeah, I like sweet tart beers, but I don't drink.
I'm not a beer guy.
I'm not a big drinker, but when we're in Hungary, I have a couple.
I like. Yeah. I'm a Irish whiskey or bourbon guy.
Have you ever had Irish coffee? Whiskey with a good espresso in it?
If you ever get a chance in New Orleans, you need to go to this one. I'll tell you the name. I don't want to give them free advertising here. But
you can. I don't care.
Aaron Rose is the name of the place. It's right off Bourbon. They make the best Irish coffee. And I don't even like froze coffee.
Huh.
But that, I like my coffee hot. But I have introduced a couple people to it, and they loved it. Ready to go back for some more.
Do you have a website?
I do not.
Do not. So where could people find you? If they want to connect or...
I'm on Facebook.
You're on Facebook.
I'm on, Terry Joe McKenzie.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on Instagram, but I'm not a big social media person. But I've got to learn to be.
A retired biology teacher and lifelong adventurer, TJ McKenzie brings a wealth of real-world experience to the page. His first self-published memoir, Phoenix, The Rise of a Warrior, was a deeply personal reflection of his life and a way to make sense of the world and share what he has learned. Now, with the gripping Hellfire Saints trilogy, he weaves tales of resilience, transformation, and the human spirit. A resident of Southwest Mississippi, TJ McKenzie has spent 40 years practicing and teaching martial arts, exploring the open road by motorcycle, and traveling in search of inspiration and insight. An observer of life and seeker of knowledge, he now balances writing with caring for his aging father. Each story TJ McKenzie crafts reflects life, driven by curiosity, grounded in discipline, lit with a spark of adventure, and laced with romance.
Well, folks, that was part 2 of the two-parter interview with TJ McKenzie. I thank you so much for listening, and like, share, subscribe. Bye-bye.